Did I tell you that we got robbed?
No.
Okay, so listen to this story. This is fucking wild. Um, there's me, Saul, and Sean on the commercial team. Saul very regularly worked from home. So it was me and Sean mostly in the office. And even then, if you're a loan officer, like it is expected throughout banking, it doesn't matter what bank you work for, you should not be in the branch very often. You should not be in office. You should be in office no more than 50% of the time.
Right.
We have a retail team, right? We have the branch team. So there was a branch manager named
Tess,
assistant branch manager named
Kristen,
and then we filtered through about 4 different tellers in the time that I've been there, because the branch just is not busy enough. They don't pay enough, so they like every 2 months we were getting somebody new. So very regularly,
Tess,
and
Kristen
were the only 2 people on the retail side of the branch. Well, if you know anything about banking, there's 2 things. One, everything is dual control. You need at least 2 people on the premises to make sure that if you need to access the vault, you have 2 people that can access the vault. If you need to get into something confidential, you do it under dual control. There's a key box that you both have a set of keys that you have to get into. One person has the top half, the other person has the second half. Well, if you have only 2 people on the retail side and somebody goes on vacation, somebody's out sick, somebody needs to go to the dentist, you're going to have only one person running the branch. Well,
Tess,
the branch manager had very, very big lady. She's like 6 foot and she's like 250. Very, very big lady. And very much, very nice if you're on her good side, but very much a bitch. And she had told all of us, hey, I have permission from
Jerry,
who's the regional manager, that I get to run this branch the way that I want because we don't have the staffing and we don't have, and it doesn't make sense. So we only need one person to sit at the branch. It can't be that way all the time. But if we're going to have an afternoon where it's one of us or something like that, it's okay. Well, cool. I mean, that makes sense because all of the keys are still locked up under dual control anyways. So you have to have somebody there to access the money. So one of us would come back to the office if she needed us. And we're only doing like 8 transactions a day. So it's not like a normal like Bank of America where you're doing 200, 300 transactions. We only have like eight people walking in on an average day anyways. So not a big deal.
Wow.
So
Tess,
it kind of manipulated all of us into thinking that we could do that. And then corporate never came in and really trained any of us to say, hey, because you guys are so short-staffed, this is what we need to see from a security standpoint. So that's all set up for the rest of this story. So 3 weeks ago, on a Monday, I'm sitting in my office and
Kristen
comes over and she goes, oh my gosh,
Jerry is here.
I think
Tess
Tess is going to get fired. Why do you think she's getting fired? Well, we found out. So check this out. So our security team, corporate security team, had emailed
Tess, Kristen,
and our baby teller that we hired named
Tanner.
So all 3 of them on the retail side, they had gotten an email the Monday before saying, hey, this guy named
Bobby
is doing some weird deposits. Can you tell us what his story is? When that email came in to the branch,
Kristen
was off that day. And so
Tanner
saw the email and he turns to
Tess
and he says, hey,
Tess,
this is about your husband.
Bobby,
What's going on? And she goes, oh,
Tanner,
don't worry about it. So she comes over to his computer and responds back to the email from
Tanner's
computer saying, oh, that's
Bobby.
He runs a food truck. He does a lot of cash transactions. Those are just, that's his regular business. And so it was like $2,000 one day, $3,000 the next day, $7,000 another day, another $2,500. So over the course of a month, he had deposited like 30 grand cash. That's not normal. And
Is
so
that like money laundering? Or?
it's money laundering. And so
Okay.
so she responds to that email via
Tanner,
computer, and then the next morning when
Kristen,
comes in,
Tess,
is already there, and she says, "Hey,
Kristen,
I'm trying to get you a pay raise. I sent the email to
Jerry,
but I also copied you on it on accident. I don't want you to see what I sent. Is it okay when you log on? I'm going to hop on and I'm going to delete that email." And
Kristen,
trust
Tess,
because
Kristen,
worked with
Tess,
at her previous bank, and she came over because of
Tess,
so they have a relationship.
Wow.
And so which is why Tess was able to manipulate her easier. And so so she
Tess,
hops on
Kristen,
Kristen's computer, deletes the email, and then deletes it out of the deleted file, so it's gone. Well, later that day,
Tess
is on lunch, and
Tanner,
goes to
Kristen,
and says, "Hey, did you see that email from yesterday?" And she goes, "No, what email are you talking about?" She goes, "Yeah, it was about
Tess's,
husband
Bobby,
structuring deposits." And
Kristen,
Kristen, as the assistant branch manager, she's operations.
Now she didn't erase the email from his computer where she sent the email though, did she?
Correct. So
Tanner,
shows her, and
Kristen,
the light bulb goes off, and she goes, "Oh shit." So she calls IT and says, "I need you to recover this email for me because I need to see if that is what
Tess,
deleted," and it was. And then IT started looking at more stuff, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, she's been structuring deposits." And so this is all on like Wednesday or Thursday. So then the next Monday is when
Jerry,
the regional manager is in office. She pulls, and that's when Kristen had come over to me and was like,
Tess,
"Gonna get fired." So
Jerry,
pulls
Tess,
into the conference room, and 2 minutes later,
Tess,
comes out bawling her eyes out. She comes over to me. She goes, "Well, I guess this is it. I just got fired." I'm like, "What the hell did you? You're kidding, right? What did you get fired for?" She goes, "I did a deposit for my husband." I go, and that's a big no-no, right? You don't do transactions for your family. So I'm like, that is the dumbest. I understand why, right? Because you can structure. There's bad things you can do, but that is so dumb.
Tess,
You are so valuable. This is so dumb. I give her a big hug. She grabs her stuff and she walks out. This is where everything gets insane, Dad. I've never seen anything like this in my life, ever. So
Jerry,
comes out and she goes, "Okay, now we need to audit all of
Tess's,
her cash drawer," right? Because she's a teller. She's acting as a teller too. So most cash drawers for a teller are like $5,000, right? You keep about 5,000 in your teller drawers. The vault in the back usually has anywhere from 150 to 300, depending on the bank and the branch. And then your ATM typically has anywhere from 40 to 60 grand sitting in it.
Jerry,
Comes out and she pulls open
Tess's,
drawers, and they notice that she has keys for everything. She has all of the dual control keys, all the keys that you're supposed to have, one half for one person and the other half for somebody else. She has all of them in her drawer.
Oh no.
They go, "Well, that's weird." So then she starts counting her cash. She's like, "Well, that's off a little bit. This is weird." Then they audit the ATM, and the ATM is off $100,000. Then they go count the vault, and it's off $220,000.
Tess,
Had gotten away with $320,000. What the just happened?